Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely profound, a direct path to enlightenment taught by one of the 20th century's greatest sages. We're going to look at a practice that literally cuts right through the noise of our daily lives. It bypasses all those complex dogmas and gives us a direct, lived experience of awakening. Let's get right into it. So, I want to start off by asking you a question, and honestly, it's perhaps the most important question you're ever going to hear. Who are you? Really? Think about it. If you peel back your name, your job title, your relationships, your physical body, and even those fleeting thoughts running through your head right this very second, what is actually left? The teachings we're exploring today propose a pretty radical idea. They suggest that almost all of our restlessness, our suffering, and our endless seeking, it all stems from a false identification with an incredibly limited temporary self. We think we are the passing thoughts, but man, we're missing the grander reality entirely. To really understand this, we turn to Sri Ramana Maharshi. He was a legendary 20th century Indian sage. And get this, at just 16 years old, he spontaneously realized absolute non-dual consciousness. No decades spent studying complex cosmology, no rigid religious texts. Instead, he taught purely from a place of direct living experience. His core message was stunningly simple. Absolute liberation isn't some distant mystical goal you have to strive for over a lifetime. It's actually your immediate, ever-present natural state, right now. Section 1. The Illusion of Ego. Now think about Ramana Maharshi's famous cinema screen metaphor. It's absolutely brilliant. Imagine you're sitting in a movie theater. You are so captivated by the drama, the explosions, the characters on the screen that you completely forget you're even watching a movie, right? The movie represents the ever-changing contents of your mind, your thoughts, your emotions, your physical sensations. They come and they go. But what actually allows them to be seen? The screen. And the screen itself never changes. It doesn't burn when there's a fire in the movie, and it sure doesn't get wet when it rains on screen. You are that unchanging, pure awareness. You are the screen, not the movie. Notice how this totally exposes the inner workings of the ego. The individual I, the ego itself, can only exist when it latches onto external associations and concepts. Just look at the structure here. I am angry. I see a tree. I am a lawyer. You see? There's always a subject associating with an object. Ramana Maharshi taught that when these associations cease, when the I stops catching hold of every stray thought and indulging in it, the ego simply vanishes. It literally cannot exist on its own without attachments. Section 2. What is self-inquiry? So the absolutely crucial point here is understanding what this practice is not. Because, our minds naturally want to turn everything into a puzzle to solve. But self-inquiry, or Atmavichara, is not an intellectual riddle. It's not a philosophical debate to win. It is definitely not just some verbal mantra you repeat mindlessly, and it's not a conceptual search for a definition. Because if you try to answer the question intellectually, well, you're just feeding the mind with more thoughts. You're staying stuck in the movie rather than recognizing the screen. Instead, self-inquiry is this radical, non-conceptual orientation. It's a precise 180-degree inward turn of your attention. Rather than looking outward at the objects of your thoughts, like, what you're going to eat for dinner or that argument you had yesterday, you turn your entire attention directly back onto its very source. You're investigating the subject itself. You are literally looking for the thinker of the thoughts. Section 3. Striking at the root. Now, you might be wondering, why does this work so profoundly? Well, while auxiliary practices like breathwork, chanting, or strict concentration are undoubtedly helpful, they have a major limitation. Ramana Maharshi actually compared them to tying up a wild bull. As long as the bull is tied up, sure, it's calm. But the second those ropes loosen, the bull just wanders off to destroy the fields all over again. Why? Because these practices leave the ego, the doer, entirely intact. You're still operating under the assumption that I am the one performing this breathing exercise. Self-inquiry, on the other hand, directly targets and dissolves the root ego. It doesn't just fight the thoughts. It cuts off their fuel supply completely by exposing that the thinker isn't even real. Consider one of his most powerful metaphors. In traditional Indian funeral pyres, a wooden stick is used to stir the burning logs to ensure everything is completely consumed by the flames. But once its job is done, what happens to the stick? Well, it gets thrown into the fire and is consumed as well. The question, who am I, is that stick. It's used to destroy all other distracting thoughts. And in the very end, the question itself dissolves, leaving absolutely nothing but the pure, silent self. Section 4. Practicing Who Am I? Okay, let's get really practical. Here is the exact step-by-step mechanism for redirecting your attention the very moment a stray thought catches you. We're going to slow down for a second and actually simulate this experience. Imagine you're just trying to rest, and suddenly a distracting thought enters your mind. Maybe it's a huge surge of anxiety about a work project, or a pang of anger about a past conversation. Normally, you just follow that thought, right? You'd get completely swept away in the movie. But this time, rather than following the thought down the rabbit hole, you immediately intercept it. You ask a gentle but firm question. To whom did this arise? That's it. You don't judge the thought, you don't try to suppress it, you just question its destination. Now, notice the intuitive, automatic response from your mind. It's almost always going to claim ownership. It will immediately say, to me. This thought arose to me. I am anxious. I am angry. The second that happens, you instantly pivot. The moment the mind says, to me, you strike at the root with the ultimate question, who am I? Or who is this me? But remember, and this is so important, do not look for a rational verbal answer. If your mind says, oh, I am a human being, or I am consciousness, recognize that is just another thought. It's just another line in the movie. Just let the question create a void. Let the sheer mystery of the question strip away your concepts. The practice here is to rest deeply in the raw, wordless feeling of your own existence, without superimposing any labels onto it. You're simply remaining as the witness, turning the attention inward to the source of awareness itself. Section 5. Enlightenment in the now. When you practice this unremitting attention, something incredible happens. You don't just find a dead, empty void. Instead, as the layers of the false ego are stripped away, you encounter what is known as the sphurana. This is described as a profound, completely wordless illumination. It's a palpable intuition, sometimes even felt as an actual physical vibration within the spiritual heart center, just on the right side of the chest. It's the sensation of pure I awareness. It is the undeniable, living presence of your true self, shining forth when the mind finally gets out of the way. Ramana Maharshi taught that the truest teaching wasn't found in words at all, but in silence. So I'm going to leave you with this final invitation. The next time a thought tries to pull you away, intercept it. Drop your concepts, rest in your heart center, and simply be the unchanging awareness that you already are. The movie will keep playing, for sure, but are you finally ready to realize you are the screen,